All right, everybody, welcome back into Patriots Press Pass. You had to deal with just myself last week, my big fat head on the screen, but now we have my friend Tayler Kyles from CLNS Media back with us for Week 18 to close out the 2023-24 regular season with our betting preview here on Patriots Press Pass, powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Head over to FanDuel.com/Boston, get a $150 in bonus bets. Taylor, happy Week 18. How was your first season on the beat?
It was interesting. Didn't expect it to go the way it did, but I mean, like we always say, best job in the world. So
Exactly.
feel really lucky. And it's not over yet. I feel like not the worst. What's a better word? The most eventful may be yet to come. So I'm strapped in.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where we're going to start this one. We're going to start with the Patriots because they do host the Jets on Sunday. The Patriots are favored in this one by 1.5 points, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. The total is 30.5 points, a very extremely low 30.5, due to probably the inept offenses mixed in with the storm, nor'easter, whatever you want to call it, that is approaching this Sunday. So we're getting snow. Bring your snowshoes when you go down there, Taylor. I know you were out in LA for the last few years, so you gotta get used to the snow. So Patriots 1.5 point. Yeah, Patriots 1.5 point favorites. Low 30.5 total. Potentially Bill Belichick's last game. No Zach Wilson. Trevor Siemian starting. Belichick hates the Jets. There's probably no love lost in that relationship with him out in New York. So we've been down there all week. We're heading down there today. It's Friday as we record this to kind of get what could be the last breath of what is the Bill Belichick era in New England. First and foremost, before we get to the game itself, I'll ask you for it all, but tell me first what you think, if this is it for Bill Belichick in New England, and then what do you make of the game, and can the Patriots pull it out in potentially his last one?
Yeah, Andrew Callahan and Doug Kyed of the Boston Globe released it was a lot of things that we kind of had an idea about, but there were also a lot of illuminating nuggets in a piece that they released yesterday. I had Doug on Pat's Daily. If you want to check that out, I kind of got a little bit more insight from him into what was going on, but it really painted a picture of Belichick just being irrationally stubborn. Where, Bill O'Brien wasn't allowed to build his own staff. Adrian Clem was kind of a square peg in a round hole because after his entire interview process, he comes in and starts installing, techniques and having philosophies that people didn't expect, that didn't really match with what they wanted initially, which is like, okay, then what did you talk about?
Right.
It's like, how were you not aware that this is what he was going to do, which was really strange. So yeah, and then obviously just the offense's ineptitude is squarely on Bill. I think Tom Brady, Gronk, and Julian Edelman, and they had a good offensive line largely because of Scar and his influence. So that masked a lot of some of the other deficiencies elsewhere on the team. And then Brady's last season, you started to see them start creeping up, and it's really you had the bright spot in 2021, Max rookie season, but really other than that, it's been pretty terrible. Defense, obviously, he's a fantastic hands-on coach. If he could come back strictly as like a guy who was like, hey, I'm defense and Bill O'Brien, like you do your thing on offense, absolutely bring him back. The guy can still coach the hell out of a football team, prepare the hell out of a football team, see more football than anybody, all that jazz. And I actually think his defense has evolved with the times, which he deserves a lot of credit for. But
100%.
I mean, if he still wants to be the general manager, if he still wants to have the final say, and even if it's like some level of final say, but even just stepping back, but if he's just gonna go about this as business as usual, which I'm not even sure he could do because Kraft overruled him and forced him to hire Bill O'Brien when he wanted to keep Matt Patricia, which is like, I understand that Matt Patricia wasn't in an ideal situation, but
Right.
and even Kraft was like, yeah, he was kind of essentially said he was set up to fail. So things like that make me think that, yeah, he's not coming back unless we really see an about face in terms of his humility, which, when you win 6 Super Bowls just with this team, that's going to be a pretty hard thing to just predict. So,
yep.
Yeah, based on all that, unfortunately, I do think it'll be Bill's last game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think just exactly what you said. Like I've waffled on this. I've gone back and forth because of all the things you mentioned. The defense is great, and they have evolved, and he has shown an ability to sort of listen to those guys and take that into it in another direction. But the offense is just so so backwards. And you're right. Like he wants all this power, but then he does have to concede to Kraft on the O'Brien thing. And then the Clem stuff where they want him to be a Scarnecchia clone. And then he brings his own stuff. And the way Doug and Andrew really did a phenomenal job in that piece. And it really did shed a ton of light on all of the dysfunction. And that's why, going into this week, I was like, maybe Bill can still, sweetheart and charm himself in that meeting that is now reportedly going to be on Monday with the Crafts. But after reading what's going on in that building the last year, I'm with you. I can't see them bringing him back and thinking that, let's just change a few things and it'll be okay. Because that's sort of what they did last year, and it obviously didn't happen. So I'm with you in that boat. I think this is Bill's last game. So given that, does he beat the Jets in his final game?
I think so, and that's squarely because of the Jets' complete ineptitude. Now, I do think that, on offense at least, I do think that, Bailey Zappi played coy and was like, we're treating this like any other game. But then right before that, he had said that they wanted to play hard, because guys are leaving. And, there's that element, obviously, that teams are never going to be the same. You want to put good things on tape. You want to play for each other. This team isn't going to roll over. They've worked way too hard for the last week of the season to be the time that they throw in the towel. But with Bill Belichick, you had David Andrews. Like, I keep bringing this up because clearly they hear it, because he hugged Bill Belichick and said, we wanted that one for you when they won in Denver. After Pittsburgh, Jabril Peppers was saying he didn't appreciate the flack that Bill was getting and praised him. Players still like Bill in terms of how he prepares them, and they respect him, and how he helps them grow as football players. Dietrich Wise saying that it's like getting a PhD in football and a master's at the same time. So I think they're going to win, but that's also because the Jets are last in EPA per play, last in positive EPA rate, which consistency and explosiveness. They're just really, really bad. They're banged up offensive line. Zach Wilson, he's been terrible against the Patriots. I actually wasn't awful in week 3. Give him, his credit. He wasn't the turnover machine he usually is, but he's shown flashes of, being at least able to make things competitive. And he's going to miss, I think it's his 4th straight game with a concussion. I don't know if it's really with the concussion or what, if they just, don't want to play him. But I just don't see how the Jets score any points. Like when Trevor Siemian was not named the starter, but when it was released, the news that Zach Wilson wasn't going to play, it's like, I think there's a decent chance the Patriots just shut them out, because that's still a really good defense. And in bad weather, like, your best bet is probably Breece Hall, and they have the best run defense of the past decade for the Patriots. So, unless the Patriots turn the ball over and just keep giving the Jets the ball in their own territory, I think it's going to hit the under. I thought 30.5 even was kind of high, considering, again, I don't think the Jets are going to score any points. So I don't think the Patriots are going to score 30. So, something's got to give there. So, I would put the under for this game, and I think the Patriots are going to win purely because the Jets just have nothing on offense outside of their 2 star players who can't get anything done because the offensive line is always hurt and the quarterback situation's a mess right now.
I'm 100% with you. I think the Patriots win this one. I think it is low scoring as well. I have it tabbed at 9-7, but the more I think about it, I think I'm going to go with 9-6 because I'm with you. I don't think the Jets are going to score a touchdown. I'll go with 2 field goals, 3 field goals from Chad. Patriots are playing for more. As much as they're not, I know, right? Brian will love that one. As much as they're not. Both teams aren't playing for anything because they're out of playoff contention. But the Jets know Saleh's coming back. They know they're out of their quarterback. They know that, they don't have to prove anything here because they're just, riding off into the sunset and have Aaron Rodgers coming back to them, where the Patriots kind of are playing for stuff. They have a bunch of guys in contract years. I know the Jets do too, but, keeping it Patriot-centric, they have guys that are playing for stuff, and they're going to play for Bill Belichick. As bad as that article is and was and is, true about the dysfunction in that building, there are still guys that want to play for him. They still do respect him as a football coach. And so final game for him potentially, final game for a guy like Matt Slater potentially. I see them trying to ball out. And in the snow, I'm with you. The point you made is really good about the one way the Jets can win this game, or they're going to have to do it, is through the run game. And the Patriots' run defense has been, unstoppable all season. So I'm going with the Patriots -1.5. I'm also taking the under 30.5. That's our spiel on the Patriots. Let's go backwards to Saturday. Before we get to Saturday night, Texans at Colts, the AFC South Championship game. Let's take a quick listen to our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook, our sponsors.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action, NFL. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including you got spreads, You get your player props, you get over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
That's FanDuel. Head over to FanDuel.com/Boston, $150 bonus bets. And that's where you can bet on Texans at Colts, because that's where we go for the Saturday night matchup. The Houston Texans, behind rookie CJ Stroud, are 1.5-point favorites on the road, taking on Indianapolis. A high total this time. We're approaching the 50s here, Taylor, after two low ones in the 30s, 47.5. Two good offenses, two decent defenses. But, I mean, I think these games, especially for Houston, you want to talk about their offense, because CJ Stroud, rookie of the year, Tank Dell's out for the season, but he's been awesome. Like, Nico Collins looks good all of a sudden. Like that, that Bobby Slowick offense with CJ Stroud under center has really been the story for the AFC South. But Indy, they lose their rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson, earlier in the season with the shoulder injury. And here comes Gardner Minshew, one game away from a playoff berth for the Colts. And so this is a de facto AFC South championship game. The winner wins the division and makes the postseason. Like I said, Texans underdogs on the road. Who do you think wins? Do you think Texans win it on the road, or do you think Indianapolis takes it?
Yeah, I think the Texans. CJ Stroud versus Gardner Minshew. Like, yeah, this is another one. I'm not overthinking this. I think the Colts have like a solid front. Yeah. I think they'll keep it competitive-ish. But yeah, CJ Stroud, baby. I'm putting my money on the kid.
Yeah, we talk about that Indy front, I feel like, a lot. It's not really in the front. I just always find a way to squeeze DeForest Buckner into these shows, yeah. I think, because he's one of my favorite players in the NFL.
As you should.
Yeah, he's just a freaking beast. That guy, like, he mucks up games. He's like 6'9". He could probably play power forward in the NBA right now. Like, I just love him as a football player. So whenever I get a chance to plug DeForest Buckner into the show, I will. I do think he might make it tough for CJ Stroud in this game, but at the end of the day, I'm with you. I think if I try and look at it as like into the future a little bit with Anthony Richardson and what they have in Indy, like if Minshew wins this game and they go and make some noise in the postseason, I know they're not gonna like get rid of Anthony Richardson and roll with Gardner Minshew, but he makes the conversation that much harder in the offseason. What do we do? It's like the Nick Foles thing with Philly, and they ultimately went to Wentz and whatever, but like it's fun. It's interesting. So I don't think that's going to happen. However, I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. I'm going to go with the Texans. And I'm going chalky with the favorites and the overs here, but I like over 47.5 too. I think this could be a sneaky high scoring game. I think, because you said Stroud versus Minshew. I like what Minshew's done this year. I think that he's just kind of like a ballsy quarterback. And, I've always said he kind of deserves to start in this league at one way or another. And he showed it this year. So I like the points. I'm going to go over 47.5. Let's move on to Sunday, because there are games on this slate that continue to mean stuff, not only for the playoffs, but also for draft position. So let's go to Bears at Packers, Taylor, because the Bears, they're sort of playing in that, they've won a couple now and Justin Fields looks good. And this isn't really a draft order thing. It's more so I'm watching the Bears because I want to see how Justin Fields looks in week 18. If he goes out and shines and wins another game, he makes the Bears' decision at the number one overall pick that much more difficult. Do they take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1? Do they trade out? Do they sell the pick? Do they take Caleb and trade Justin Fields? So even though, the game doesn't matter, like, I guess seeding wise and postseason wise, I'm watching Fields and see how they ultimately make that decision this offseason. And then the Packers, I believe they can make the playoffs if they win and some other things happen. So they've sort of been a roller coaster this year on offense, but Jordan Love seems to have his mojo back. He played awesome last week. So Packers are at home at Lambeau Field this one. The spread is Packers -3, and the total is 45 at FanDuel. So first, before I get your pick on the game, I kind of want to get your thoughts on the Bears situation that I just mentioned and where you think this can go and what can Fields do to make their decision that much tougher this weekend.
Yeah, so JT O'Sullivan at the QB school, like he's my go-to when I really want to understand what the hell's going on the football field in terms of quarterbacks, because he played in the league. He does a tremendous job. And he seems to believe in Justin Fields. Like he was mentioning in the last game how if a quarterback shows solid anticipation where the receiver's like kind of turning out of his route, but he hasn't fully declared or fully broken. And then it's like, all right, that's little A anticipation where, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but, you're not throwing to a guy who's already out of his route, as opposed to like before the receiver even looks at the quarterback, if he's throwing it, that's like big A anticipation. There was a throw where he just goes big A, big A, big A, big A. And those are things that you don't really expect from Justin Fields, because everyone just thinks of him as more of a runner and a guy who can only throw
and like
deep.
an ad-libber and not someone who plays in in the system, whatever.
Right. And it seems like he's finally starting to get complimentary play calling for what his strengths are. Like the downfield passing, yes, and like the rhythmic stuff, can be a little hit or miss, but you play to a guy's strengths, and I think that's starting to happen. I think he's showing that, especially with DJ Moore, like they've got good chemistry. I feel like if they want a Marvin Harrison Jr., like go ahead and get your guy. I like that opportunity for them and how that could really help push Fields' game, because then you really unlock something downfield with Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside. You don't know what they're going to do with Darnell Mooney necessarily. Yeah, I like Fields. I do think that I think they'll give him another year. Okay. I do. To that point, I think this is going to be a competitive game. Because Jordan Love obviously is playing really well this year. Contract year for him as well, where he kind of had to prove it. I think he's going to earn himself a nice contract this offseason. I think the Packers pull it out at home. Really, this is just one of those things where I'm not sure where it's going to go, so I'm going to default to the home team. But I think it could be high scoring, and I'm gonna go. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the points.
He's taking the Packers -3. I'm going to go the opposite because I'm rooting for Justin Fields, because I want the Patriots to get a quarterback. So I don't want Chicago to be tempted with Caleb Williams, the number one. So for my rooting interest, I'm going to bet on and root for Chicago in this one, because they have played well. I think they've won like 4 out of their last 5 or something. That don't quote me on that, but they're rolling, and Fields is playing well, like you mentioned. He's played well not only as an ad-libber but in structure. So I'm going to go with the Bears +3, and I'm going to go under 45 because it's a little high for two teams that, it's a classic NFC North matchup between the Bears and the Packers. That could be like a 20-17 game. That's just, tennis match back and forth, defense. So I'm on Bears +3. Taylor's on Packers -3, and I'm on the under 45. Before we get to our final 2 Sunday games to finish off our Patriots Press Pass season, let's listen to our friends over at SeatGeek.
I've been looking for the best deal on Celtics tickets, and with over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events every single day on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. With the NFL, NBA, and NHL seasons in full swing, you don't want to miss out. SeatGeek has your tickets to every game. Plus, artists like Travis Scott are on tour. They put all the tickets across the web in one place to make sure you're getting a good deal. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. So as you know, I always come through for you guys. You can use my code DREAMERSPRO for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code DREAMERSPRO. Make sure you check the link in the description to download the app.
All right, final 2 games before we finish the regular season here on Press Pass. A reminder to stay tuned into, obviously, the YouTube channel here all postseason long, because me and Taylor are going to break down every single playoff game, wild card, divisional round, conference championships, and the Super Bowl. We'll do our Super Bowl props. We'll do a full show on that. So make sure you stay tuned, locked in, and subscribe to Patriots Press Pass here on YouTube. But before we sign off for the final time in the regular season, let's go rapid fire. Final 2 games I want to look at. The first one is Cowboys at Commanders. Cowboys are on the road, and they're nearly 2 touchdown favorites, -13.5. The total is 47.5. And the reason I'm watching this game, as I'm sure you know, is because the Patriots draft order really matters here on what happens with the Commanders. The Commanders are sitting a lot of guys. I believe they're still starting Sam Howell at quarterback, but I could be wrong. Do you know if it's Jacoby?
I think Jacoby Brissett's still hurt.
Okay, I think you're right. So they're going to go with Sam Howell, but Ron Rivera is all but out of a job. So they have no reason to win this game, and that is why they're 2 touchdown dogs. Cowboys, obviously.
Jacoby practiced fully on Thursday, real quick. Just saying that, throwing that out
All
there.
right,
Yeah,
so
he was a full participant.
That's very interesting. So I don't know who's starting at quarterback, Taylor. I don't believe you have any idea either, really. But regardless, a big game for the Patriots and a game that doesn't matter at all for the Commanders. So can Washington pull out against Dallas, who's still sort of fighting for their own right in the NFC East, or is this just going to be a butt kicking by the Cowboys?
It's going to be a Cowboys butt kicking because the Commanders are shamelessly tanking. They're acting like they're in the playoffs and resting their veterans or whatever. So I made the mistake of thinking that the Cowboys weren't going to blow out an inferior team just because it's the NFL. I'm not doing that again. I think they're still going to play their starters, even if it's just like what the Patriots did in 2014, that week against Buffalo, where they played Brady for a half and then brought in Jimmy. Whatever it is, even the Cowboys backups against the Commanders backups, like I think we all know who's favored there. So yeah. Don't overthink it. Cowboys are going to steamroll the Commanders.
All right. Taylor's taking the boys with the points. You know what? They're going to give Patriots fans a heart attack. The Commanders are. They're going to keep it close and lose. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, besides the fact that I know they're going to toy with Patriots fans. I'm going to take the Commanders with the points, 13.5. But Dallas ultimately wins, and the Patriots still land at like the 3rd pick when it's all said and done. So I'm going Commanders with the points, but I think Dallas wins. Over under 47.5. I'm taking the over because let's root for complete chaos. Points. Commanders lose by 1, 35-34, something stupid like that. So let's close this thing out with the AFC East Championship game on Sunday Night Football. Bills at Dolphins. Let me find the odds because I just lost them. And the Bills are 2.5-point favorites on the road in Miami. Miami is a home dog at +2.5. The total is 48.5. Expecting a high-scoring game between 2 high-powered offenses. I guess, I'm trying to tee it up with really what to say about this game besides the fact that it is for the AFC East. The winner or the loser can still get in the playoffs. I know Miami will get in, I'm pretty sure, if they lose, but the Bills will need some help. So what do you make of it? Do you think the Bills win on the road? Do you think the Dolphins win at home and take care of business? What do you make of the matchup?
I think this is going to be Bills. Now, they've obviously been streaky. They barely beat the Patriots, which, like, Patriots defense, sure. But then, you couldn't take advantage of some really, really good plays by their defense and the Dolphins. So Bradley Chubb is unfortunately out for the season with a knee injury. Xavier Howard didn't participate for the past 2 days. Raheem Mostert hasn't participated for the past 2 days. Jalen Waddle hasn't participated for the past 2 days. You don't know how much of that is them just wanting to play cautious, knowing that this is an important division matchup. Right. But, especially because the Dolphins just got blown out last week. I feel like I can't not say the Bills. I don't like putting my money on them because they've been so streaky. If I were personally, I would avoid this game because there's just so many kind of funky factors going on. But I think the Bills can win, and if they do win, I think they're going to cover.
I'm with you on the fact that I don't want to touch the game, so I don't know what I want for the spread. I know I want the over because it's just an over weekend, just crazy games. Week 18, draft orders, playoff, seedings change from 4 p.m. on Saturday until 8 p.m. on Sunday. So that's what I'm rooting for. I'm rooting for chaos because I can't wait to cover this weekend in the NFL, not only from, all the playoff scenarios, but with the Patriots and Bill Belichick and all of it. So I'm going to take the over. And as I ramble on, I'm going to go with the Dolphins +2.5 because let's just roll. They got blown out last weekend. They have something to prove. So Dolphins win at home or at least cover +2.5. So with that being said, that is it for myself and Tayler Kyles for the season. Like I said before, we're going to be back all postseason long. So make sure you rate, review, subscribe here on Patriots Press Pass. Check out all of Taylor's work at CLNSmedia.com. Follow along with him on Twitter at TKyles39. And if you want to listen to me rant and rave about the Patriots, you can too at Mike Kadlick on Twitter. And you can read all my work at WEEI.com. So until next week, until Wildcard Weekend, we'll see you all soon. Rate, review, subscribe, and thanks for watching.